So business intelligence, what is it and who needs it? That's the topic for today. So why do you need business intelligence? That's going to be a big topic and a theme that we'll continue to highlight and underscore what that is and why you need it as we go through the presentation. Must-have BI solutions. Things have drastically changed in the last few years that make business intelligence and powerful analytic capabilities available to anyone very rapidly without lots of investment, and that has typically been required in the past. And then we're going to talk about Power BI from Microsoft. That is the business intelligence platform, both on-premise and in the cloud, that we build our solutions on for our customers. And then we'll talk about some of our branded Socius Analytics dashboards that we built for different ERP and other types of software line of business software that you may be running. And we build custom out-of-the-box kind of turnkey dashboards that are called content packs that you can pretty much plug in, point at your line of business solution, whether it's a general ledger or ERP type solution, and just have dashboards that work more or less out of the box. And then our friends from Adaptive Insights I mentioned will share some of their slides and products as well. And then we'll touch on mobile BI a little bit, what's happening in that space, which is, again, quite a few changes have happened and significant changes from Microsoft and availability across all devices, not just laptops and computers, but across any mobile device, tablets, and phones. And then we'll wrap up with some Q&A. So just a little bit about Socius. We are a company that's been in business for 31 years, and Socius is a Latin term. It stands for ally, and that's truly what we do. We partner with many customers, over 2,000 accounts that we've successfully partnered with over the last 31 years, over 1,000 active customers at the moment. We were in the top 20 North American practice for accounting and technology, and we are also in the Microsoft Master Bar program, and we not only have our 6 locations nationwide for Socius, but we also work with 23 affiliate companies, organizations that extend our reach, provide services on our behalf, and oftentimes we provide services on their behalf to our customers. So Microsoft was the Global Cloud Partner of the Year finalist in 2014. Just this past July, we were in Florida at the Orlando Conference for the Worldwide Partner Conference, and we're a continued winner of the Inner Circle Award for 2015. And we've been in that space for the 19, or been in that position in this champion circle of 19 out of the last 22 years. And we were recently chosen to be part of the Microsoft Power BI Red Carpet program, which provides a lot of direct access to Microsoft engineering, product positioning, early adopter type programs that we can actually partner with you and several customers, bringing to bear large resources of Microsoft with ours to do very innovative and powerful BI solutions in the field. As you know, Microsoft is moving a lot of their technologies into the cloud, so we work hand in hand with them and customers to work on those different type of solution scenarios. Some of our clients include, you can see the different verticals in manufacturing, distribution, public sector, and so on. Some of our bigger clients in manufacturing space, many people have heard of Gorilla Glue, Bill Jack Foods, dog, pet foods, and so forth. And then we work in the distribution space. You can see the names here. I'm not going to read all of these. We recently did a big, for the state of Ohio Liquor Control, big ERP integration solution there in the public sector space as well. So you'll have these slide decks available to you, and you can kind of peruse this list of some of our references or customers as well. So these terms, probably most of you on the phone have heard of these terms, business intelligence, perhaps analytics, maybe less of you, predictive analytics. The term business intelligence has been out there for a long time. Just as a little background to me, I worked at Microsoft 17 years, primarily in their analytics or business intelligence practices, as well as big data and cloud practices. And at Microsoft, that term was used, probably has been used for the last 18 years roughly. Anymore, we're kind of changing that term. It seems like in the industry they want to get away from business intelligence because it's not just businesses that need intelligence. There's public sector groups and other organizations that aren't really businesses but perform different types of services out there in the world. So this term analytics is really becoming more of an umbrella term, the world of business analytics, reporting, predictive analytics, that encapsulates business intelligence as well. And then on the predictive analytics side, that is really going from reporting, which is really looking in your rear view mirror, what happened, what is my sales data for the last 2 years, what does it tell me, what happened, what do I know from that, moving more from the looking in my rear view mirror to the future. If I know this about my data, I can apply advanced statistical techniques, and yes, these are truly the people that work at our rocket scientists that have that mathematical background that write these advanced algorithms that can actually interrogate large volumes of data and make predictions or estimations about what is likely to happen based on previous data. There's other techniques as well where we just apply predictive analytics to look at your data and just discover patterns that may not be necessarily obvious when you're just looking through a spreadsheet of numbers and rows and columns. So these advanced statistical techniques can do things that help you predict future event, future sales, future inventory levels, and based on that knowledge you may be able to become very prescriptive. And that means if you know this is likely to happen, maybe I can even do things to make my sales much more positive or increase my inventory levels before I run into drastic shortages and push away business. So you can get much more predictive with some of these techniques. And it's usually kind of an evolution like that. You move from left to right, from basic reporting, printer paper reporting, Excel spreadsheets, to the world of more advanced dashboards and that have drill down and all kinds of slice and dice capabilities that we're going to demonstrate here, all the way into, evolved into the predictive analytics realm. So I can't really raise your hands here, but I'll just ask these questions, and obviously you can just answer. We pretty much know the answer. We've done this presentation many times. But who currently relies heavily on internal staff for developing custom reports? And then the next question is, who uses Excel for the majority of their reporting, analysis, and budgeting? So by and large, the majority of the customers we work with rely on their own staff or others to develop custom reports. And this business is not going away, but in the realm of business intelligence, there's new capabilities and features there that allow you to, in often hours and days, do what often took weeks and months, if not years, to build large, complex reporting solutions. And most of our customers use Excel for a lot of the reporting. A lot of people use the cut and paste method of Excel. They'll pull data from a lot of different data sources, kind of paste it into cells or rows and columns, and then use that to present to others in their organization or to use for business decision making. With what has happened in the last few years in the business intelligence space and analytics space is that databases and connectivity tools and dashboarding tools have become much faster, an order of magnitude faster, where end users, people that perhaps are very comfortable working in Excel, can just simply use these tools and get at their own data and quickly produce their own dashboards and reports. And we're going to take a look at a lot of examples of that. So let me jump to the next slide. So as I've kind of pointed out as we went along here, BI is much more than reporting. BI, when we look at it, is making a learning organization. That means the more people you wouldn't even think of using, the more people in an organization that we can put great analytic tools onto their phone, on a tablet, on a laptop, and get the right data at the right time into the hands of every person in the organization. Makes that organization a learning organization. Every person can benefit from BI, and the smarter each employee is, it increases the overall strength and intelligence of the overall organization for faster and better decision making. BI is much more about looking forward than looking in the rearview mirror, as I mentioned. So using these tools to kind of project what's going to happen and giving me, the end user, the capability to perhaps alter and affect those end outcomes in a way that helps make the business organization much more productive. And we talk about this term a lot in the business intelligence space, actionable data. And that is data that is very much more proactive versus reactive thinking. What can I do with it? And if I know my margins on my products are this, things like that, maybe I can increase prices on this set of products, and maybe I need to decrease prices on these set of products to get better sales. And using all types of BI tools to do that gives you the ability to create actionable data. And as I mentioned, it is definitely rich and rapid self-service. So that's what 95% of what I do here at Socius and our business intelligence team is about, rich and rapid self-service. We don't want to build 3-month projects or 6-month projects with our customers that cost often hundreds of thousands of dollars. We want to measure our projects in hours and weeks and get actionable and valuable and useful data and analytics into an organization's hand in often, like I said, a few hours, if not a few days. And mobile, getting data into your hands at the right time, right place. You might be someone who picks orders out in a warehouse. If you have some mobile BI right on your phone, you may be able to get smart about how you pick orders based on the order load for that day. So again, democratizing business intelligence or getting it out into the hands of everyone in the organization makes that organization that much faster, that much smarter, and that much more successful. Some of the must-have BI solutions we'll talk about today. I mentioned Power BI. That is the platform we build our offerings on top of primarily. That's about 95% of our BI offerings are built there. And then our friends from Adaptive Insights, as I mentioned, provide a rich interface, even in Excel, and capabilities to produce typical accounting type reports, as well as the disciplines of budgeting and forecasting. And then even on the SQL Server side, we use reporting services, which is a much more of a developer tool. It is a longer developer tool, but in times when you need fixed format reports for perhaps orders or purchase orders or custom dashboards, we can do that in reporting services as well. So those are like 3 of the kind of must-have BI solutions that we promote and that we develop and make available to our customers. Quickly, a quick overview slide. I promise this is the only architectural overview slide here that we have, but Microsoft Power BI, what started on-premise as an Excel add-in, as you see over to the left here, has moved into more of a cloud offering, and more, I believe eventually in 5 years, almost every organization will be using the cloud, whether it's Microsoft or Amazon or someone else, but Microsoft is moving their Power BI business intelligence tool suite completely into the cloud. It has abilities to connect to your databases and your own data centers for your own solutions. It can connect to just about any database or any solution that's out there, as well as databases that are in the cloud. You can see in the center some of the Microsoft Cloud databases that are available in Azure Data Services, Dynamics Online, that is a cloud offering, and other third-party databases that run in the cloud, as well as your on-premise databases there on the left. And then over to the right, Microsoft provides, through their cloud offerings, the ability to render these dashboards that we can create in Excel on our desktop, to render these dashboards available in just about any web browser on your laptop, mobile phones, or tablets. So that's just a quick architectural overview of the Power BI platform. And so right now I'm going to kind of transition and talk about, there's 4 main components of Power BI toolset. And all of them, except for one, which actually is kind of the 5th one, all of them are add-ins to Excel. And with Excel 2013, most of those come out of the box. If you install Excel, you have these four Power BI tools that initially started in Excel. So the first one is called Power Query. This is a tool that, again, as part of Excel, you can see down here in the lower right that in Excel, Power Query, which used to be called Data Explorer, this is an old slide, it's now called Power Query, is a tool that allows you as an end user to point at just about any database, any internet data source, and get at data that you need maybe to do analysis or to create your own reports. Once you have that data into Excel through Power Query, you then can use this tool called Power Pivot, which is another add-in to Excel. And Power Pivot, the main thing to remember about their Power Pivot is allows you to gather data from just about any data source, assemble it in one place. So you could pull data from a SQL Server database, a file that's on your laptop, a SQL Server database, and maybe a database that's in the Microsoft Cloud. You can pull data from all four of those data sources into one Power Pivot model that's built in Excel. And it can scale into the tens of millions of rows, and it's very highly compressed. So from a performance standpoint, all those 10 million or billions of rows, once they're in Power Pivot, can be accessed and reported on very quickly. And we'll see some good examples of that. And then the third tool in the Power BI tool set is Power View. So this is a self-service dashboarding tool, also runs within Excel, that you can create. So once you've gathered your data, loaded it into the Excel, you can create dashboards quickly through this tool called Power View. And it's just drag and drop, very end user friendly, and something your team, your organization can learn very quickly. And just as a side note, we do a lot of that. We spend a few hours getting data assembled for many of our customers. We help show them how to build a few dashboards, how they can begin to do it themselves and get them up and running. So again, that's a key part of our theme, and our business mission is to get customers successful quickly, get business value into their hands quickly, and let them become self-sufficient in going on and adding new capabilities to their business intelligence solutions. So that's Power View, just a quick screenshot. And then Q&A, this is a tool that only runs in the Microsoft Cloud. It has a lot of artificial intelligence behind it, a lot of Microsoft research and math went into this, but basically the data that you collect and gather into Excel, when you publish that workbook up to the Microsoft Cloud, you can ask English questions in English, let me put it that way, you can ask questions in English of your data, and in real time it'll generate charts like this. So you can see this question was typed in, which player scored the most goals by World Cup, and instantly Power Query or Power Q&A rendered this little dashboard, this little chart underneath. So it's a great tool. We're seeing a lot of great success with early adopters in our customer base. A great tool where you can get in there and ask your own questions, begin to learn about your own data, and do some of those predictive or proactive things we mentioned earlier. And then the fourth tool, it's actually five. I'm kind of making this Q&A. If I back up, Q&A is kind of not really the fourth tool. It's just part of the cloud experience that Microsoft has in Power BI. But the fourth tool is Power Map, and that only runs in Excel on the desktop because it's very computer resource intensive from a CPU standpoint. So it needs a lot of a pretty beefy computer to render this, and we'll show some examples of that as well. So let me jump into the demo part. And so what I'm going to do now is just kind of show you the different tool sets I glanced over or glossed over quickly. And we'll start with the first one, Power Query. So as you can see, it's a tab in Excel. It's just an add-in to Excel, and I can get at data just about anywhere. So if you look over here to the left, I can get data from a web page, from a file, maybe on my laptop, another Excel spreadsheet someone in my office created, from other databases like SQL Server, even IBM, Oracle, pretty much all the key databases that are out there in the marketplace today, in the business world today. And then even from the cloud sources like Microsoft Azure, I can get at SQL databases that live in the Microsoft Cloud, or big data databases that live in the Microsoft Cloud, or other storage options that are up there. And then even from some of the other line of business applications, I can get data directly from Dynamics CRM Online. I could even import Facebook feeds, perhaps from my company's site. I can import that data if I want to analyze it and see what customers perhaps are saying in social media about my business, Salesforce, and a whole host of other ones. And this list is growing by the week, literally. So if you go to the Microsoft PowerBI.com, you can see a list of the dozens and dozens of line of business data sources up there that you can directly connect to and pull data into Excel. So, just to kind of highlight something a little different, something a little fun there. Here's a web page I was just searching through any search engine, Google or Bing, and I found this 2010 United States Census page. And as I scroll down the page, I see a lot of text. But down here, I also see some tables on the page, like the rank, population rank by state, comparison between the 2000 census and the 2010 census, and the percentage change. So that looks like some good information. Maybe I want to use in my analysis as perhaps I'm planning to open some stores in a certain state. I want to know the different populations. And if I wanted to go down to city level, I could do that. But for this example, this highlights the capability quite nicely. I can just copy and paste this web address, this URL that's up there, and go back to Power Query and just say get data from a web page. I can enter that URL there and just say OK. And I can see that at that web page there's several different tables of information on that web page. So maybe it's that one. Maybe I'll look at that one. No, that doesn't look like what I was just looking at. There it is. I find that table of population. I can quickly see there's the rows and columns by each state, 2010 census versus the 2000 or the 2000 census, and I may say that's good data. Let me edit that first. And this is, again, all things as an end user you can do. So now I've got this data set that I'm getting ready to pull into Excel, into Power Pivot, and I want to look at it first, and maybe I want to do some cleanup of this data before I load it in Excel. So one of the first things I can do is just, let me see. One of the first things I can do is use the first row as header. So you see I have rank, state, population in the first row. But I'd really like to make that first row as headers. So I click that and it just simply moves it up there. And then maybe some of these data fields, I don't want it to be text, I want that to be a whole number. And I can change the data types. And then make this one perhaps a percentage or a decimal number. And you can see in that case it didn't like it, so it's building a list of steps here as I change my data, and if it doesn't like that one, I can remove the last step and get back there. And maybe I want to change it to another data type, which it doesn't look like we can do it at this point, but we'll leave it as is just to demonstrate the example. But in Power Query, you can do all kinds of things here, right? I can replace the values of columns. I can replace values. I can split columns in two. I can unpivot data, which I can change the data that's on rows and columns. I can move data around. There's literally dozens and dozens of things you can do to clean up your data before you load it in Excel. Once you're happy with that, you can close and load right to the model. And that is the Power Pivot data model that we're going to load into. So we'll go ahead and let that run. And we can see it's reading that web page, grabbing the data I was looking at, and it's going to populate. It says 52 rows loaded for the 52 states. And now I have the data in Excel in Power Pivot. And as I mentioned, Power Pivot can scale into the millions of rows. So if I go ahead here, jump over to Power Pivot, I'll show you that data set I just pulled in. And you can see down here at the bottom, population and population change in the United States, 1 of 52 rows. And then you can see some of the other data I loaded, pulled off the internet as well. This is 790,000. This is 3 years of every single police 911 incident call to the city of Seattle. And I also joined that with weather that was freely available on the internet, weather patterns, hourly weather observations that happened in Seattle during those 3 years of 911 incidents. So quite a bit of data in there, all loaded in there. Once I have this data, so now I've used Power BI, Power Query to get at my data. I've loaded into Power Pivot so I can have millions of rows if necessary in a very fast way. And now I can report on this data. So one of the next tools, the third tool that we looked at before, was called Power View, and that is an end user dashboarding tool. So you can see here's a blank canvas. I just inserted a new Power View report, and now it's asking me to do something with it. Well, there's my data sets, and maybe I want to look at this 911 data again. And maybe I want to look at different types of incidents or 9/11 incidents that happen within my organization. So I can just start dragging those incidents descriptions over here, and perhaps I want the number of incidents, drag to that same table, and then maybe I want to just put it into a chart. And quickly I could start building dashboards. You can literally that quick start building dashboards with different charts, and then you can add things like filters. Let's take a specific crime group, and then let's turn this into a slicer. Let's just make this a filter. So now for my data, maybe I'm only interested in different types of crime, other major crimes other than homicide, theft, and vice. And I can see felony warrant services, misdemeanor warrant services. I could look at theft data and see thefts by armed robbery. So quickly I can add filters to let me just slice and filter my data. So as you drag and drop to build these dashboards, you can start very quickly, and this was probably built in an hour or less, this next dashboard. So taking that same data just to show you kind of the end effect. Now I have slicers over there. If I want to look at the impact of 911 calls by weather data like temperature when it's very cold, and this again for the city of Seattle, I can select these 3 degrees and quickly see filter across the chart and see that these types of incidents happen most often. And I can see the hour of day. So at 1 a.m. at the first hour, late in the evening or early morning, I can click on that event and see where it happens. And I can quickly, as a police officer, since I brought into my model all public data using Power Query, I brought in your police beats for the city of Seattle, and I can see at 1 in the morning when it's very cold out, for these different police beats, they get a lot of different incidents. So perhaps, it gets you to the actionable insight of data. Perhaps if you're a police sergeant who's got a police captain who's got to figure out what beats to put people on, he can take a look at the weather, and then based on time of day, can figure out what precincts make sense to have more officers staffed in that location. So very much actionable data, very interactive, the types of things you can do with Power View. So let me jump to the next one, the fourth one, which I mentioned is Power Map. So this only runs on my laptop. I'm going to launch Power Map. And here's a tour I have saved. So this is the same data we're looking at on these dashboards here, but we loaded into a mapping tool because the city of Seattle was so nice to provide all this 911 incident data free. They also included the actual geo coordinates of each incident, where the actual address where each incident took place. So this will take a little bit to open up because I mentioned I have a slower laptop, and this one is very much a very CPU or computer intensive application. Okay, we'll let that go ahead and run. Let me switch back to the next part of the presentation. So as I mentioned, at Socius, we have built a lot of custom out-of-the-box content packs for our different customers and different platforms like our ERP solution in Dynamics. And what this allows many of our customers to do for us is to spend maybe a half a day to a day max to point these already predefined, pre-built dashboards at their data sets and have this type of capability. So let's take a look at what those are. So everything I just created and was showing you about Power BI and Excel, once you're done with it, you can simply push a couple buttons in Excel and publish those dashboards right up into the Microsoft Office or Power BI sites. And you can see they look like dashboards up there, even though they're authored and created in Excel. They just look like nice web-based dashboards. So here's what we've done for some of our ERP customers is created a set of 3 different dashboard areas. One is for operations. So if you're a distributor and you have a supply chain, whether it's inventory, you deal with things like purchase orders, receivables, shipping. We've built a whole set of dashboards just for those types of customers. And then for the finance, the CEO or the financial people, we've built a bunch of different finance type dashboards. And then for sales, like a sales manager or sales reps, we built a series of dashboards for those people as well, those on your team. So let me just jump into one quickly. Let's take a look at our sales dashboard first. Normally I would start this already preloaded, but as part of the cloud, your first few seconds as you get into the cloud, takes your dashboards a little bit of time to come up. So here you can see, again, this was completely authored in Power View, part of Excel, and published up to the cloud. And you can see across the bottom of this dashboard, there's a few other tabs where we can jump to different dashboards as well. But this is kind of a sales dashboard, and quickly you can see sales for each fiscal month, fiscal period versus plan. You have slicers here where we can change the date slicer. So if I wanted to select 2016, I can just simply left click on that 2016 and it'll update the charts for that period. Jump back to 2017. We have a little better data there. Okay, so there's 2017. So again, as you start working with it, everything in the cloud becomes cached and becomes very responsive. So if I'm a salesperson looking at 2017, perhaps I'm a sales manager, I can quickly see for all my sales reps how much product they've sold in 2017, the number of orders, and so on. And if I want to just left click on this first sales rep, you'll notice the charts can cross filter. So now I'm just going to look at this first person, Sandra M. And again, give it a moment. And I can see for Sandra, relative to the rest of the organization, you see the entire sales for the organization gray and gray. And you can see that Sandra had a very big month in the third fiscal period, a very good month, but not doing so well in period 4. And then I can jump down and do even some additional analysis. Let's take Greg E. And there we can see Greg that, hey, well, he doesn't have quite the amount of sales Sandra. He's really been picking things up. It's been ramping up. So as a sales manager, you can quickly then see what each person is doing well, how they're doing relative to the overall sales. You can see the charts cross-filtered. You can see Greg's biggest customers, Midland Construction. And if I drill down, I can even do things like drilling down on Greg and see who his customers are. So I just double-clicked on his bar, and it'll drill down into his customer base. And I can quickly see his top customers who he's selling to. And then even for those top customers, if I want to drill down one more time, I double-clicked on this company, Astor Suites, and I can see the products that they're buying. So a lot of interactivity right within there. If I want to see the low sellers first, I can simply sort that ascending and see which products maybe I shouldn't be spending much time on versus which products I should be really trying to sell into that account or other accounts. So I'm going to hop back to my slide deck. We only have an hour here. The point I wanted to make was that we have these predefined dashboards, like I said, that we offer to our customers to get them up and started often in a day's time. with their line of business solution. So that's just a quick whirlwind tour of Power BI and some of the Socius Analytics dashboards. Let me jump back to my slide deck. Mobile BI, Microsoft has really taken a leadership position in the space, and especially in the last 6 months. There's a recent acquisition with a company. The types of BI solutions we're showing you today will render perfectly on tablets and mobile phones across all the major platforms of Windows Phone, Apple, iOS, and Android, as well as the major tablets that are out there as well. And often some of these mobile tools have additional capabilities just by being a mobile device that you don't get on your laptop. Things like being able to use your thumb to hover over amounts and set alerts when data crosses a certain threshold. You may want to get a text message when a certain data point goes over a certain threshold, like sales for a certain product go over a certain amount. Perhaps you want to be notified, or inventory drops below a certain level. For a certain set of products, you might want to be notified. So all kinds of nice mobile capabilities that Microsoft provides there. The Microsoft DataZen acquisition, that was an acquisition, again, within the last 6 months that really, if you don't use the Microsoft Data Cloud and keep your data all on-premise, it's a great software solution that runs on-premise on your own data centers. That provides the same types of mobile capabilities as the Microsoft Cloud. So some very rich graphics and business intelligence solutions there as part of that acquisition. And as I mentioned, again, you can, with a lot of these mobile devices, you can quickly email or send a text message from a dashboard you're looking at right on your phone to anyone else in your organization, as simply as you create a text message or send an email on your phone right now. So let me just kind of wrap up with this. BI and analytics are much more important than ever for your business. It's a space, it's a business solution area you can get into in days and have up and working solutions in days, doing things with your data maybe you've been wanting to do but thought it was too costly. And we often recommend this. Many of our customers are like, hey, I got 10 different data sets and databases. I want to get this all into some type of reporting tool like Power BI. And our suggestion is always start with maybe 1 or 2 at the most of those areas and get something small up and working, something that everyone in the organization can get comfortable and familiar with, and then begin pulling in more data sets into your Power BI solution to make use of it. And lastly, involve us early and often in your BI and analytics strategy. We can often save you a lot of time and energy and stop you from going down certain paths, because these tools truly are revolutionary in the fact that you can get things done quickly and at large volumes of data and get productive very quickly. So please feel free to contact us for a complimentary 1-hour remote needs assessment. Just in an hour discussion, we can often get at some of your main pain points, and maybe we identify an area with you that you might want to do a very focused prototype with the Power BI tools and see how it works for your organization. This has been successful for us and many of our customers in this way, so please feel free to reach out. Our contact information, Terry Ginley is our Director of Business Analytics here at Socius. I am an architect working for Terry. A little bit background I didn't share earlier. Terry and I both worked at Microsoft for many years. So that's our contact information. I mean, the chat screen is open, I guess, available to everyone if there's any questions anyone has right now.